Love without measure is how St. Ambrose, one of the early church fathers, described this poor widow. Love without measure. The temple area would be a place of tremendous activity. In the Old Testament, it covered over 32 acres of land, thousands and thousands of people coming and going, all kinds of activity everywhere in the temple. It's almost unbelievable that Jesus would have noticed, in the midst of all of the chaos, a small offering made by a poor widow. But that's the consolation of this story recorded for us in the Gospel of Luke. God sees everything. So often when we do things, if we're honest, we like to be thanked, we like to be noticed, we like to receive accolades for the works that we do, and they might be good works, and we need to be thanked. There's a time for that. But at the end of the day, the only one that really needs to see is God. He knows the designs of our hearts, and he notices immediately what an extraordinary act of love without measure this poor old widow does because of her love for God. She must have complete trust in the Lord. She's giving everything she has, not from her surplus, not what she doesn't need, not from what might be left over, which is so often the offerings that we can make with our time, our treasure, our gifts. She has offered her whole livelihood. We would think it might be foolish to do that. What about our own needs? What about tomorrow and the next day? How will we take care of ourselves? But she trusts that her offering will be blessed. She's offering it to God, and she believes with all her heart that God will take care of her. We hear the powerful story in our first reading today. We're continuing on from our reading from Maccabees last week and beginning now the book of Daniel. The people of Israel still under great persecution, being forced to do things that violate the law, including the eating of pork. And these men have an opportunity to be part of the king's service, but they refuse to do things that violate their standing with God. Even the steward wonders how they will be able to become fit and strong and capable. It's his responsibility to see that they are able to enter the service, but they promise that God will take care of them if they are faithful to the covenant, and we see what happens in an extraordinary way. They far exceed anyone else in their capabilities, their wisdom, their strength. And Daniel will play a very critical role in God's plan to save his people. Today we are honoring in the church St. Andrew Dunglock and over 130,000 Vietnamese martyrs who were persecuted mercilessly, tortured, put to death, all of them holding fast to their faith in Jesus Christ over the course of a couple decades under several different persecutions in Vietnam. Pope John Paul II canonized all of them in 1988. And you know, so often the martyrs, as Tertullian said, their blood is the seed of Christian faith. They give inspiration, they give courage to everyone in the church, particularly those others in Vietnam who had a choice to live and to recant their faith or to hold fast and meet their death, but all of them knew what would lie ahead. a far more important reality than this life, they held on to the gift of salvation, and they were willing to offer their lives, love without measure. It's the call of every Christian. It isn't always easy. We hedge our bets. We can easily think more of ourselves than others. But are we willing to offer everything we have, like that poor widow? Are we willing to hold fast courageously to the teachings of Jesus Christ, no matter what the cost? Are we willing to lay down our lives every day? Those are the questions before us, my brothers and sisters in faith. That's why we're here. The Eucharist strengthens us for the mission. There's a reason the Eucharist is called the sacrament of love. It's the place that we encounter most intimately and powerfully the love of God. And that gift is given for one reason, that we can go forth from here and, like so many others in the scriptures and the history of the church, that we can learn to love without measure, offering everything we have in service to God, to his holy church, and to the others around us, our brothers and sisters in faith. Let's pray for the strength, perseverance, and courage to do exactly that each and every day of our lives.